Now we running? Are we up and running? There we go. What's up? Okay. I should. What's going on? If you were just joining me, we have got a guest coming in here any second. Let me just get this so I can see it. Oh, it's not? What do you mean the video has no sound? Check. Got a guest coming in here any second. Alright. Trying this again. Hang in there if you are catching me live. Oh, it's because I'm not over there yet. That's fine. Hey guys. We're going to be on in a second. Alright, I'm going to start playing. I think that we should have a guest here in a second. Should hear him ding in. This is really I actually need a second screen pretty bad. I may have to do that. What's up, Dan? All right. Let me make sure we can hear each other. Devin, hang on, man.
Good?
I think we can. Yes, we should be good. Let me just make sure that your media is coming through as soon as you jump up on the stream here. It's about a 30-second delay. So,
No worries.
dude, pumped to have you as my first guest here.
I am too. I'm really honored, dude. I was a big fan of your stuff that you were doing at Relevant. I was bummed you left, but it's been cool to follow each other on social media.
Yeah, you know, I may still do some stuff. We'll see. I have actually put in kind of more career-related pitches. Up, let me see. Hang on. You're on. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I've got a couple kind of career, like in the vein of what I'm doing here. I'm trying to maybe do some stuff irrelevant. So, all right, I'm gonna play while we talk, and yeah, I'm excited to do this. So if you're just joining us, the Adulting Gamer, the little career development over the lunch hour. So Devin joins me as a friend I made on the internet, and almost was could still be a friend in real life. But I was thinking Indianapolis is one of the cities I was considering moving to, and St. Louis happened faster, and it is closer to family. But Indy's a great place. Are you from there originally, man, or?
Yeah, we can't move. My dad was actually a minister here in Indiana, and then we moved to Kansas City. They're still there. He's been at a church about 20 years.
Okay.
And then my wife and I moved back here after I did officer training with the Marine Corps in Quantico in '09. We moved back, so we've been back here about 10 years.
Okay, gotcha. In what years were you in the military?
I joined in '09, and then actually I declined commission.
Okay.
It was one of the few moments I can really point to as like having an epiphany. Way better than church camp. Sustainable life change.
There's a joke I would probably tell on the stream, but I'm going to turn off as at work, so it's probably not quite a work thing. I'm trying to. And what is your? Can I have your truck, buddy? Oh, is this a? Hey, sorry, dude. Oh, well, I agree with that. So, what's your experience level with video games? Is it something that's ever a part of your life? Ever was a part of your life?
Actually still is, because I have friends in so many different parts of the country, and I talk on the phone. I talk on the phone a lot for my job.
Yeah.
So I'm actually an investment advisor, but staying in touch with my friends, I would rather get together and do cigars or go shooting, CrossFit, and if it's remote though, I'd rather play video games and just talk.
Yeah.
So my brothers were living in North Carolina, one was living in Austin, and we could never get together, but we would buy the same game. We would buy different games, but we would
A little bit and turn you up a little bit in the stream because I'm I'm trying to stay alive and talk to you. Okay, so I think
it's totally fine because like it happens on the other end too. Like I'll be playing and we'll be doing the same thing. Our conversation will trail off, and we're like, "Oh shit!" Like we just got killed. And you got so caught up in like something, and you weren't paying attention. You're like, "Oh my gosh!"
yeah, it's so. Oh, you're not what?
They'll be like, "Damn it, Devin! Do you not know how to do this?"
I was an RA in college, and like I actually had to like basically like bring somebody before a committee because his behavior back in. I mean, I'm 36, so it was back before when you actually still had to have the consoles connected together via LAN before you could play on the internet. Playing Halo, this guy got so inappropriate with other residents, like would scream at them and throw things and stuff when his team lost, that like I actually finally had to like take him before like the staff or whatever because he was being an idiot and like bothering other people, which is pretty hilarious.
Like since I know people do no judgment. I take other stuff seriously than I probably should. So.
Yeah. Well, let's jump in right here. So if you maybe want to give a quick synopsis of how you got into your current role, and you're really an advocate for, is this a good guy or a bad guy? Let's go find out. You were advocating for straight commission. Tell me about why there.
So straight commission or any type of business ownership, which is basically straight commission, but you're just employing yourself. The problem with taking any type of salary, and this is like there's like that murky gray area when you have a base and bonus, but really working from a straight commission standpoint, I argue is people are so lazy we don't do it. We don't want to figure out a way to do it for employees. Like, okay, well you're like, well how would a clerk or an underwriter or a CPA just work on commission? There's ways to do it. We just don't back into it. So we traditionally think of it as sales roles. But it's like, that's not really fair. We should all be being paid on our productivity and the value we're bringing to the marketplace, not on some stupid logged hours. Like, I log 9 hours. Now I get, like, you get a desk worker. That makes sense. You need some sort of hourly wage. But they also need to have some sort of incentive to upcharge. And I get, like, there are some roles that need to be very challenging to do this with. But when people talk about, like, there's a jeweler here in town, and they advertise, and they always go, our salespeople are not commissioned. I refuse to buy jewelry from that place. Not like I'm buying a lot of jewelry, but I buy it from my wife. And, it's like,
you're not doing like the 1970s gangster thing where you're doing a bunch of pinky rings or anything?
Yeah. So the problem is, though, when someone isn't commissioned and they're only being paid for the hours they work as opposed to the tasks they complete, the value they bring, they don't need to know their profession very well.
I agree with that.
But if I'm dealing with commission, like I obviously as an investment advisor, I deal with wrap accounts, I deal with life insurance, things like that. I sell way more premium, way more investments than most people ever get to in a career. And I'm not saying that in a braggy way. I've had some really excellent mentors. That said, I have clients that spend $50, $100, $250,000 a year on life insurance.
On life insurance? How much does that buy you in life insurance?
Sometimes the face value question, sometimes the cash value question, but that's my point. Anybody who hears that, if you don't understand what life insurance can do, there's a reason I get paid really well to sell that stuff. because I have to understand the tax implications, how they take cash out, how do you put money in. Same thing with anything else. It's a skill level. Now, if you talk to me about something I don't know anything about, I want education. I want them to be able to, bring to me relevant information. Like I just had a friend of mine he called me this morning and he said, hey man, he goes, Pete, didn't bug you. And this doesn't really have to do with my stuff with you, but he goes, this guy owes me money, he's paying me, and we want to know the most tax efficient way to do it. And I was like, well, do you know what gifting laws are? And I walked him through it, and just in like a 20-minute phone conversation, I saved him about $2,000.
Wow.
Just because the way that they're structuring how he's getting paid. So that's my point. Dealing with a commission salesperson, if they're bringing to you, they're trying to upsell you, but a good salesperson who's in a relationship business, like a good real estate agent, investment advisor, attorney, I want you to come back to me. Even my CrossFit gym. I train with the owner most of the time. It's the largest gym in Indy. That guy's in my neighborhood. Bryn will pull me aside. He's like, hey, I remember when you were in last time. You tweaked your back. Have you thought about working your glutes this way and doing these exercises? I can go work out anywhere for a lot less. What I can't get is professional advice around my, how do I lift for my physique? How do I get stronger? Things like that. So we're always paying for value. And in the absence of value, that's the only time cost matters.
That is a very, very good line there. So you were in the military, and I am in kind of a hybrid situation where I don't want to talk to people right now. It's hard to have non-playable character dialogue and like carry on a conversation with you.
Right.
But I'm in a situation where corporate America, there's a bonus structure, and then I also I do some stuff on the side. And I was out on my own I've been out on my own twice. The first time I just kind of wasn't ready, like, not really skill level wise, but more management wise, like learning how to grow a business and stuff. Last time, just basically we blew through a bunch of savings because, Amanda's company this is pretty crazy, but Amanda's company got seized by the bank because the owner was, I guess for legal purposes, I will say allegedly committing fraud. So, she was 5 months pregnant and was carrying the insurance while I was building a business. And, I'd been working a job before that or whatever. And, good Lord, I got to hide from a helicopter. We just burned through.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to eliminate a pilot here. We just burned through a bunch of savings.
Yeah, and that's where when I got my start, I started at a career firm. I'm at an independent firm now, but the career firm, the great thing is most people aren't taught how to run their businesses. They're not taught about, like, how do you control expenses? What is actually your goal? Like, are you, and what I mean by that is so many people are measuring lagging indicators in their success in business, not their leading indicators. How many, like today, I got off the phone with my buddy I gave the advice to, and I said, hey, by the way, between here and December, we're not financially slow, but I'm able to take on about 5 or 10 more clients between here and the end of the year. But after the end of the year, it'll be like 5 or 10 clients for the rest of the year that are private and not specific to my firm. So who do you know that I know? And I ask for referrals all the time if I'm giving good advice, because referrals are the lifeblood of any business. That's a leading indicator. If I have, my team's got 20,000 people to call. Well, that's your income. We haven't converted it to dollars yet, but if you don't have the names, you can't make phone calls, and the same thing's anywhere else. It's all relationship. So I don't think early enough on we're teaching entrepreneurs what the leading indicator in their business is, because there should be 1 to 2 things tops that you do every single day that you're like, if I didn't make a sale, if I saw no revenue at all this week, how do I get to Friday afternoon and be like, I did my job. I didn't see the money yet, but I did the work that I know will translate to dollars within the next month, 3 months, whatever it is.
And that's a skill set that just a ton of people do not have, which is crazy to me, because I was so intimidated. I grew up in a working farm, I grew up in a pretty rural area, and I was very intimidated, like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hack it, in whatever it is. Like, it's like, okay, well, I was a good student in a small school. I got it's sort of like I played basketball briefly in college. It's like, I there I was honestly outclassed. Like I played a summer league with a bunch of Division One guys. I mean, it's like we weren't even playing the same sport. You know, and I had reached the peak of my abilities, about as far as I was going to go. My nickname was Slow and Low because I was both slow and didn't jump very far.
Yes.
You know, but I found in the working world that totally wasn't the case. That I didn't need to be as intimidated as I was. So I thought I would get into these, you know, situations where, you know, I've done major PR and worked with people, you know, everywhere from, you know, CNN to Fox Sports to Time Magazine, and I thought those people would be so on their game because they were in a big company or something like that, that like I wouldn't even be able to hang. Like if you would ask me when I was 19, 20 years old. And then I've gotten into a lot of those situations and I found out like they're kind of lazy.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, I mean I am always
have to grind that hard most of the time.
Yeah. I have been able to get you know, I have been able to understand this more than I'm able to understand how to fly this freaking helicopter. I don't think I should exit the vehicle, you stupid game. I think that's about 10,000 feet up. One of these has got to go down. Okay, there we go. I think we're going down. So, you know, I look at it every day as if I do today 365 times, what does my life look like in a year? And I'm not perfect, but it certainly, you know, keeps me from just, you know, watching 25 hours of Netflix a week and, you know, never being ambitious, right?
Right.
You know, like we were talking about the long-term goals of this. It's like I've got 6 things like kind of staged out of what I want to, you know, what I want to do with this thing. Part of it's, you know, kind of in a non-profit situation. Part of it's in a, you know, for-profit situation. And you know, we'll kind of see what happens. And if it doesn't work, then I learn stuff for the next thing. But you know, like kind of the way modern education works. My wife and I, you know, have had this conversation since, you know, becoming parents. I honestly think if I could have only gone to school like 2 days a week, I would have been way better off. Like I wouldn't have wasted time when I was a kid. I would have learned a whole bunch of stuff. You know, it's like the example I always give is I taught junior college. Or, I mean, so I taught, you know, junior-ish college. I taught website programming and stuff like that. Well, I knew I wanted to teach college. I had a master's degree. The opportunity came up. It was maybe 30 to 40% outside my existing skill level. Then I just basically stayed up all night for 3 weeks. I lied and said I could do the job even though I couldn't. I stayed up all night for 3 weeks and learned how to do the job. Yeah. And you know what's funny is I could have by the time I was in my late teens had a lot more skills if I just would have had time to do it. You know, but I had to go to school and do what other people told me to do, which didn't really translate into, you know, anything. And I do think that, you know, we're still in a world where it makes a lot of sense to go to college because, and you know, because employers look at that, and if they don't look at your resume because they see you didn't go to college, then that's an issue.
You think so? See, like, and I think I would disagree. I don't think it is at all. I think unless you're an attorney, a CPA, obviously if you're going to be a college professor or go the educational route, something like that.
Yeah.
In my world, it means nothing to have an MBA.
In my, it's so funny. I don't know. I mean, because an MBA is more about getting promoted in a really large organization than anything else. Right. So it's about getting promoted in a company of 4,000 people, which I'm not in. So I don't know how much it translated. I got it for free, so whatever. You know. Even the college thing, like, you know, you may have to go, you may not have to go. You know, Google, Facebook, those companies are not saying that they're requiring a degree anymore. What am I doing out here, by the way? What am I searching for? It says I'm supposed to find something.
So multitasking, like, this is a cool concept, but your character's going to die with way more frequency.
So I mean, I think it totally depends on where the kind of employer level goes. I think what's going to happen is we're going to wind up like college is going to be micro college, where you go for 8 weeks and learn SEO, which is one of the things I do, right? Search engine optimization. Then you go make money at that.
That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to move to getting, like, I have to take my series. I'm taking a series exam tomorrow. But one of the ways we educate our kids is I expose them to different things. So, like, their godfather's a gunny in the Marine Corps, their godmother's a captain in the Navy. So they know about the military route. They want to seem to mimic my lifestyle or greater than. So I talk to them about entrepreneurship and business. So many of my clients own, like, I deal almost exclusively with business owners. and high-end salespeople.
Well, yeah, if you got that kind of cash to throw around, I mean, that's how you got it.
Right. So I'm like, look, this is what they're doing. I put them in those situations. I never make them listen, but I'll put them in corporate situations or business situations where they can overhear. So my son sat outside, and we were down at the lake. I was with one of my business partners and a colleague that I use her as a broker, and we're sitting on the raft, and we were talking about relationships and business and how that's formulated. And my 13-year-old son, his name is Israel, came over, and he hopped on the raft, and he was just listening. He barely talked, but we've taught our kids, if adults are talking, just pay attention, learn what they're talking about from business standpoint, because those interpersonal connections and those soft skills very few people will even read on this, especially like at our age. Like, do you think anybody's going back and looking at where you went to college, maybe at plans to see if they're the same one?
Yeah, no, where it does come in handy. Come on, you dummy. I'm not ready to chop that dude up with the helicopter blades. Like, what is he doing? I'm going to go over here. I'll pick him back up if he's useful. It does say to go there. We'll go over here first.
I had an
All right.
ex-girlfriend that treated me like that.
You had a what?
You said I'm going to pick him up again if he's useful. I said I had an ex-girlfriend that treated me like that.
No, I grew up in both in family business and small business and farming, and I would say it was really, really, really helpful. And it definitely makes you learn how to just have a conversation with somebody, learn how to close a sale, et cetera, et cetera. On the conversation of getting back to kind of the whole straight commission thing, even though that's not my day job, that's certainly my mentality. I maybe we'll see how it goes. Maybe helping somebody kind of develop a book deal that's got a TV platform on a pretty major cable channel, I'll probably do that because it's a friend. But the next time, you're gonna pay me. Like, after I got somebody a pretty good situation, like, you're gonna pay me. And my wife does art, like, pretty legit. Sells abstract paintings for $1,000 to $3,000 and up, and that is people like, oh man, I wish I had talent or whatever. And I'm like, well, talent doesn't matter. Like, we talk about it every week. Like, what are we doing to get done to launch you in St. Louis? And it just kind of back to that thing of, like, if I do this day 365 times, what does my life look like? Unfortunately, even I think, like, the really big name brand schools are not, they're not really set up to teach you how to, like, actually be the biggest thing is just self-discipline. Like, they're there to teach you a textbook. They're not there to teach you, like, get your, like, tail out of bed at a decent time. Oops.
Now, I'll say this, and I say this as I went to a small private Christian school. I always say this: the conservative religious schools are the worst culprits at preparing people, because not only is a lot of the education questionable, and I would say that about the college institution as a whole, but also there, it's like, well, you're going to have a 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock curfew, and we're going to take class attendance, and it's because we quote unquote care about you more. But in reality, it's really just, it feels kind of like it's like they're trying to transition the homeschool kids and bring them up to speed. And it's like, no one cares when you're 25 and you've got your second or third job, and you're like, you know what? I don't think you're training them to fail safely in college, to stay up too late, to get too drunk, not show up, have to play hurt. I mean, the number of times I've been at a business conference and I'm out with, like, some guys or women that I'm trying to impress, and they're buying drinks, and it's honestly part of the job to be out and socialize and drink.
Yeah.
I know 2 o'clock in the morning, this is earlier in my career, I don't do this nonsense, but, like, waking up the next day to be at the business conference at 7 a.m. and I'm hungover, and I had to learn to play hurt and play well, at least decently hurt. But we're not teaching them that because we handicap them, and we're so afraid they're going to fail, and we don't let them fail until the consequences are super real.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit.
Well, having taught college, the whole idea of Zamboni parenting, which is beyond helicopter parenting. What's that? Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. The term Zamboni parenting, call me. Think about that. 25-year-old student's mom is running interference because they thought she thought the class was too hard or whatever. And I mean, I prided myself on being tough. Like I was like, I would always tell them, my job is not to make you like me. My job is to make you employable. I care in 5 years if you like me.
Right.
Like 5 years into your career when it worked, that's when that's when your opinion matters to me, because that's the only measure of whether or not I did my job.
That's right.
That's something that only having a 11 month old this week.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like one of the things I realize is like, it's not necessarily my job to like police whether or not she's doing her homework. Oh Lord. You're right. I do die way more having these conversations. But I think that probably getting back to the straight commission thing, it's scarier when you really have not had enough rope to hang yourself in a job or anything like that. And I think even I do think that like mortars. I do think that a lot of times like biweekly.
What you just said, enough rope to hang yourself. So when I started to go straight commission, so I entered into a partnership with a guy. I didn't know enough. God, if you're starting a business, talk to an investment advisor. Oh my goodness. I went into business as a 27, 28-year-old. I was hired as a partner. I was really like a general manager, and there was like some sweat equity involved. And 15 months into the project, without warning, he terminated me.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, and I didn't have any legal repercussions, and we're cool now. So, we do like dinner as couples and stuff. But that was my epiphany to corporate America, that I was like, it doesn't matter what job, W-2, like, okay, really commissioned isn't that scary, because all commission is the same level of...
Are you glad you worked a regular job before that, or are you not glad you worked a regular job before that? Because it does seem like if you're 22 maybe and you go straight commission, if there's nobody there to teach you what to do, you're just going to get crushed.
Yeah, I think I would have done it earlier. Had I been exposed to it. My parents didn't really explore internship programs or those type of things. I would tell you go straight commission earlier. It matters less. There's less risk. You don't have, like, if you wait till later, like right now, for me to make my monthly nut, like just to make bills, I need at least like $10K.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, we're like getting that commission. If I didn't have a skill set, it would be really challenging. Whereas like early on, we pulled up our budget from like when we were first married. We were running on like $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like that's not that tough to cover, and then you kind of grow with that skill set. And I wouldn't have been closing deals like I close now then, but it taught me early on. And I wish I would have had more exposure to it. On the other side, though, it's hard to look back with regret. It's like, I learned a lot of rejection. I worked in ministry for a while, and there is no one who faces rejection like the church. I mean, people bitch about you. Like if you're running a business, like I guarantee your owner at whatever building you're in right now, no one has come to him and told him that they disagree on a theological level with his choice of lobby music and carpeting color.
Yeah.
Because that's like, you'd be like, well, that's not the purpose of what we're doing here. But weirdly, church people really feel the need to get in there. And so when we were in ministry, we just learned to absorb so many personal attacks. It was like by the time I got turned down for financial deals, I was like, all right, like cool. That's not that big. No one's attacking me at my soul level.
Yeah. I think it was Donald Miller who, was originally kind of a memoirist and is now a business guy. Thing called Story Brand. You should be listening to that podcast. If you're, did I come back?
You're back now.
Okay.
You were real laggy there for like 10 seconds.
So I'm on the guest network because I'm obviously on my lunch hour. But what I love that he said is if you're afraid to ask somebody to close a sale or something like that, he's like, you should just walk up to a table at Chipotle and ask for $1 million, and they're gonna laugh at you, and then you're gonna realize that like a dragon doesn't come out of the floor and eat you, and that it won't kill you to get rejected.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal. But again, that is one of those things that, it's funny. I even had people who, there's 3 open positions at my job right now. And there are a couple, I've reached out to a couple friends because I have a pretty good track record of helping people connect to the right, kind of business situation, that type of thing. And I was just like, why don't you apply? It's like, one of them's like, well, what if they don't like me? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you go to an interview, you burn a I got to kill somebody. Yeah, one of the things I think that I might be able to flip this into is like kind of like, maybe speaking at some high schools and stuff because I've done that before, and so I'm trying to like not curse on the stream and stuff because it kind of cuts off a business lane. And, oh no, I don't care. I don't care if you do. Individual guests don't matter, but I'm trying to maintain my brand. But the game is certainly just going for it.
I'm really trying to mimic that whole like Gary Vee thing where it's like
Yeah.
I don't really talk to kids. Like, speaking of which, that's something else that we do in our house that's very different than I found with my kids. We don't pretend. We don't pretend. We don't lie. And what I mean by that is my twins the other day had and I know some parents on here are going to disagree, and that's fine. Like, feel free to DM me, and I'll tell you I don't care, and go have your own children. But we were taking the kids. I was taking the girls. We had to divide up. We had so many kids. We were going to this laser tag place. And I know my daughter, she loves Taylor Swift. She loves listening to female artists. Well, she really likes, and here's where people can judge. She really likes Cardi B. And I mean, she's 13. I'm not going to let my 5-year-old listen to that.
Yeah.
And all the girls in the car go, "Ooh, my parents don't let me listen to this." And then proceeded to rattle off all the lyrics. Like, when we were like listening to like Limp Bizkit or whatever we did in high school, it's like, yeah, your parents didn't let you listen to it, but my parents weren't down with me listening to Metallica. I just didn't tell them I listened to Metallica.
Yeah.
And so it's like, instead of doing that, I'm just like, okay, teenagers listen to teenagers' music.
Oh wait. Oh, we got to do something important here. Wait, watch this. Ready? Do you know what this move right here is called? This is an Epstein prison suicide. Oh, look, the cameras failed. Oh, look, the guards were asleep. Guess he's never going to testify now. The thing is, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and you don't even have to assign blame because I think there were so many people that may have been wrapped up in that whole thing that there's several people. But, like, there is a point where the evidence tips so far in one direction that you're a conspiracy theorist to think that somebody could hang themselves with a paper sheet.
And that's just my thing. I'm like, so both cameras fell, the guards fell asleep, they were never on that rotation. I'm like, how many things, like, if you don't think this is suspicious, I'm like, dude, I have great beachfront property in Denver. Just wild.
Yeah, no, it's funny. So Amanda is, kind of grew up and my parents were fairly, pretty conservative Christian, theologically and that type of thing. But they were like, I just got a lot more rope. Like, so they let me go to, one of the best things that happened to me was I was a pretty good kid and I wanted to go to a leadership conference for student government in like Ohio. And, this is before cell phone coverage was really good. And it was just cool. Like they, I'd been responsible. They let me go. And I drove to Ohio by myself at 16, did the trip, handled the money. It's not like I had a credit card backup or anything like that. I just had to handle the money. And that was great. And, when kind of as we loop all these things together, now who's... Oh, I can't figure out, like, these are like cult members or whatever. Okay, buddy. I'm going to, like, get rid of this side dude if he doesn't come get me here because there's one guy. Come on. I just beat the whole thing. Come on. And I got 8 minutes left before the lunch hour is over. But, that was one of the best things, like, for me is that's the reason I could teach college at 28 as opposed to having my mom call at 25 and talk to the flippin' teacher for me. Actually, I'm not going to say which coach, because I think the guy said this off mic, but a project I was working on, a coach of a Division I college basketball program that produces NBA players, probably every year somebody gets drafted, said that one of the issues with coaching D1 basketball was parents calling after practice. Like, oh, well, my son didn't like this in practice. Okay? These are going to be, these kids, could be making millions of dollars the next year. How are they ever going to handle it? Okay. Well,
that's what they don't, and then we don't expect them to do it. We don't let them fail. I have a rule. I don't check on my kids' grades for that reason either. because home's supposed to be like I've been reading like child psychology books and sexual psychology books and all this stuff. Just with a lot of stuff that's gone on in my life. We've got family in rehab and all this different things. I don't check with my kids about their schoolwork because my anticipation is their teachers or the school will call me if there's a issue at school. That's where they need to be. I check their grades like online, but I always ask my kids about the thing that they're enjoying, their artwork, their sport, their skill. I want them to talk to me about the things that they enjoy and just assume that they're taking care of their own business. And I don't think we do that early enough, and we don't let them fail. And we're like, because we're doing the helicopter parent. Their school is their obligation. I don't want to be back in junior high and high school. I was very happy to leave for the first time.
Man, you got junior high kids? I feel like 7th grade is the hardest. It's the very hardest. I don't know why. It's the hardest of the hardest.
I totally agree. Mine was horrible. My son's was horrible. I mean, as far as schooling, it was really challenging. He was in advanced classes. He was failing 1 or 2 of them midway through the semester. And we're like, dude, we're going to pull you out of the advanced classes if this continues, just so you don't screw up your GPA for high school if you want to go to college. He said, okay, and he pulled him up to an A. And I don't think we like just to communicate consequences of like how the consequences are going to help you. I don't need to ground you to get better grades. I just need you to understand if you want all the options available to you, you got to work.
Yeah. Okay, we got in the last 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
Make a pitch on what you do, why people should go do it. I just think that could be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, go to helix1financial.com. If you want to look up kind of what I do and what we do, you can email me there. It's drose@helix1financial.com. And really what we do is we come in, as opposed to a traditional investment advisory firm, we're what's called a family office. So that means most of our clients, they've never, if you ask somebody, I mean, even yourself, have you ever sat in a room with your attorney, your CPA, your mortgage person, your credit card processing person, your financial advisor? Have you just sat in a meeting and had even 3 of those 5 or 6 people in the room? There's not a chance, unless you're a very high net worth person. So what we do is we come in, we help you restructure if you need to legally. We come in, we maximize profits, and we I have to be careful how I say this. If you employ all of our services, not just the financial services component, if you're a business owner and you bring us everything you're doing, we guarantee will increase your revenue 20 to 100%.
Holy cow.
The first 12 months. Because most people do not know what they're doing. It's not their fault. Like if you talked about, I work with a lot of physicians. Part of the reason we started working there, it's the easiest pitch to make to physicians. When do docs make money? When they're seeing patients. When do docs make money? When they're running their business. I want them to go see patients. I want them to go sell cars or whatever their business is, and we're professionals at running the business. We do it all the time, hundreds of clients. That's what we do.
Yeah. And
I promise you don't have to spend $250,000 on life insurance. It's only.
Dude, I feel like if you're spending that much, like, are you sort of incentivizing someone to want to off you?
So they have a cash flow. Every year you're putting in, it increases in value, and there's all, like that's why we do trust and legal work. Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. But I'm still dead than I am alive currently. But I've got 4 kids. It's expensive to keep my home running.
That is true. That is definitely true. I'm not going to beat this boss this time. That's okay though. Okay, and just on the making the pitch, getting rejected, and then you got to say there before. Oh my gosh, he got me back. Never mind. I might be able to finish this thing. Like we're going to be able to get it all done. We're going to be able to increase this level 20 to 100%.
There we go.
I don't really like that, like, oops. Sometimes it's hard in, like, a game to, like, throw a grenade on top of a building. Or it could be hard in real life. I don't know. I've never done it. So just as far as, he did the work for me. Look at that. He is like you, and I am like the business owner. This format is working so well. I can't believe it. But just as far as making an ask, getting rejected, people who are afraid of that, I kind of said something about it. But if you just want to oh my goodness, look at what I just got. If you just want to speak to that real quick, I think that could be kind of cool too. As somebody who, you said it wasn't that hard, but how do you build that muscle if you don't have it? Because you built it in other arenas, right?
Yeah, I built it in other arenas. First of all, I have 2 things to say. The first thing is find excellence in one area in your life. Because excellence is contagious. So when I got really good with art, when I got really good as a wrestler, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I can be good at school. Oh, I can be good at this. Oh, okay. Like I can be good at things if I practice enough. And I think that's an important point if you're younger. And then when I was older, what I realized was we fear rejection because we are addicted to external validation. Like I have no idea how many people are going to watch this. If 4 people watch this thing, I don't care. I'm having a blast doing it.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, I want to do things because I want to do things because of who I am. I want to express myself. And so I think sometimes like just realizing like, hey, you know what? If somebody doesn't like you, it's none of my business. If somebody loves me, it's also none of my business.
Yeah.
I have private thoughts about other people. I know who I am. I cannot let their reaction determine my worth.
Yeah. By the way, David Patronazio, what's up, man? I think it's the first time you watched. Now we're getting in. I kind of told you the numbers. We hit about 1,000 views a month or whatever, and it could be very easy for me to be like, oh, I was in traditional media for X amount of years, and I did 2 TV shows, and I've done a lot of writing, et cetera, et cetera, and and so like, well, what is this compared to that? Well, this is something that nobody else has tried. That's a heck of a lot of fun. That I may be able to grab some really good audience as we were discussing because just nobody's doing it yet. And so I haven't
been on a podcast till last week, and I've done like 4 since then, and I'm loving it. I'm like, dude, this is totally how I need to express. This is really fun for me.
Oh yeah. So you haven't launched though yet, right?
No, we have our social media up. I don't know if your audience would be what we're looking for, but I'm happy to shoot you the link. It is really good, and it's something I'm passionate about.
No, it's fine. You can talk about it. I don't care.
So we're doing because of a lot of experiences, personally, family, friends. One of my friends, her name is Lisa Mitchell. We do this thing where we're starting a podcast, basically on like non-traditional and traditional, quote unquote, traditional sexuality. And how that manifests itself, because we end up in these binary choices of like, I'm either monogamous and married, or I'm single and can kind of sort of do what I want. And how does my faith and spirituality play into that? How does relational health play into that? And so it's been really fun to do that. I'm weirdly educated on the topic, just from, like I said, some personal experience. We had a blast doing it. I don't care if 5 people listen. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Everybody thinks that podcasting has to be a big deal. It has to be macro. I mean, in my opinion, and I'm working on this kind of in some different facets, but I'm gonna have to. I'm just gonna pause it there and take these guys on later. In my opinion, every small business, everybody ought to be doing a podcast. Who cares if 30 people are listening? If 30 people are listening who might want to buy something from you or who care, I mean, that is the craziest thing in the whole world. Like that you could get that kind of audience.
We couldn't even have this conversation 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is like I can just create my own audience. It's just wild, and making something just for the love of it still comes back to that because you can't fake passion.
Yeah, for sure. Would love to have you back on. I got to get back there. I got a meeting at 3:00. I got to prep for it. It's in 2 hours. We'll do it again. It was super.
Let's do it again.
All right. See you, man. Bye.